Imagine calling the same person for different reasons. Sometimes for help, sometimes for advice, and sometimes just to talk casually. Same person, but different behavior depending on the situation. That exact idea in programming is called method overloading. So today we are going to understand what method overloading is, where it is used in real applications, how Python handles it, and also the biggest confusion beginners usually have regarding this topic. So let's begin. Method overloading means creating multiple methods with the same name but different inputs or parameters. Depending on the arguments passed, the method performs different tasks. For example, if I write add with two numbers, it adds two numbers. But if I pass three numbers, it adds three numbers. Same method name, but different behavior. This helps developers write cleaner, easier, and more flexible code. Now you may ask, why do we even need method overloading? Imagine if method overloading did not exist. You would have to create separate functions like add two numbers, add three numbers, add four numbers, and so on. Now imagine this in a huge project with hundreds of features. The code would become extremely messy and difficult to manage. Method overloading solves this problem by allowing one method name to handle multiple situations smartly. Method overloading is used almost everywhere in real applications. For example, calculator applications, payment systems, search engines, game controls, even AI assistants. Let's take a search example. Sometimes the user searches only with a product name. And sometimes the user also adds filters like price or brand. Instead of creating many different methods, developers use method overloading to manage all these cases using one method name. Now let's understand this with a very simple real-life example. Imagine ordering pizza. Sometimes you order only pizza. Sometimes pizza with a cold drink. And sometimes pizza with dessert. But in every case, the action is still the same. Order pizza. Only the details change. Programming follows the exact same concept. One method name can behave differently depending on the inputs provided. This is the section where most beginners get confused. The first confusion is, method overloading and method overriding are not the same thing. Overloading usually happens in the same class. Overriding happens between parent and child classes. The second confusion is, does Python support true method overloading directly? And the answer is no. Languages like Java and C++ support true method overloading directly, but Python handles it differently. In languages like Java, C++, and C#, true method overloading exists. You can create multiple methods with the same name by simply changing the parameters. The compiler automatically decides which method to call depending on the arguments passed. That is why method overloading feels very natural in those languages. But Python works differently. If you create multiple methods with the same name in Python, the latest method replaces the previous one. So technically, Python does not support traditional method overloading directly. This is one of the most important things beginners should remember. So now the question becomes, if Python does not support method overloading directly, then how do Python developers achieve it? One common way is using default arguments. Here, the third parameter already has a default value. So if we pass only two numbers, Python uses the default value automatically. And if we pass three numbers, it uses the provided value. This creates behavior very similar to method overloading. Another powerful way Python handles overloading is using star args. Star args allows a method to accept any number of arguments dynamically. This means whether you pass two numbers, four numbers, or even 10 numbers, the same method can handle all of them. This makes Python extremely flexible and developer friendly. So, let's quickly revise everything we learned today. Method overloading means same method name with different inputs. It helps make code cleaner and more flexible. It is heavily used in real-world applications. Python does not support true method overloading directly like Java or C++. Instead, Python achieves similar behavior using default arguments and star args. And the mantra of this video is, one method can handle many situations if inputs are managed smartly. Always remember, Programming is not about writing more functions. It is about writing smarter and more flexible code. So guys, this is all about method overloading in Python. Practice these examples yourself, because once you start using them in programs, the concept becomes extremely easy. And in the next video, we will learn method overriding, where things become even more interesting. Till then, bye bye.